Hey, if you did not know, because it maybe crept up on you, just like tax day, and it's probably going to be very, very quiet around here. Is not only are we in portal combat with college basketball going on, the college football
Yeah.
portal window opens up today.
Ooh.
And I've been reading things about chaos and
But I think around
but not here.
Yeah, I think around here, because now Nebraska's got 2 weeks left of spring football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Watch the drama elsewhere.
Penn State's got a big time wide receiver that's in. Who knows what's going to happen at USC? But like coaches are openly talking about their wish list of what they're looking for, and I'm thinking, this might be a little bit of a dud, or maybe just a handful of difference makers. But man, it's going to be boring around here. I don't think we're going to have any portal combat football.
Boring
That's
is
a good
good.
thing.
Boring is good. Around here.
You know what?
Boring. Boring was good for Scotty Scheffler yesterday in the Masters. Not good for the viewer. Boring is very good for both
healthy
Nebraska football fans and the coaching staff when it comes to the portal season. Boring is better.
Maybe boring is the wrong word.
Uneventful?
Because people hear boring and it's a negative connotation. Maybe I'll just say lack of drama.
Yeah, uneventful.
Portal football combat could be very lack of drama around here.
If it's like it was in the winter, that it is going to be here coming up, then that's a good thing.
But I would think there's going to be probably a couple of guys that are a little bit further down on the depth chart because they've had a scrimmage now. And I mean, you went through winter conditioning. You've gone through 3 weeks of spring football. So you kind of know the pecking order. If you are a little bit younger and haven't played, or there's really no path to you playing a lot, then it would be wise to jump into the portal combat era of college football in the spring of 2024. But it opens up today. I just was amused watching some of the spring games this weekend where coaches are like, well, our wish list is this, this, and this. And I'm thinking, are there enough difference makers that are going to go into the portal for college football in the spring that are going to change the trajectory of your program? Or is it more depth? But these coaches, like Hugh Freeze, is talking about, making big changes, and I'm like, wow, you must know something I don't, because I don't anticipate like just earth-shattering moves. This is not college basketball.
Well, you got to ask yourself, how much back channel conversations are you able to have? I mean, the difference makers that I would think probably don't exist this time of the year. It depends on the network that you have.
What's the biggest transfer in the spring in college football? Jordan Addison from Pittsburgh to USC.
Yeah, that
was a spring one,
and that was the worst kept secret because you knew that at some point that was going to happen. It was just at what point, when was it going to happen? But that was, I mean, I would agree that was an impact type addition, but it was also very rare. And I wonder, and I think we always do now in this era, of what type of conversations are existing between a potential player that the team that he's currently on would all of a sudden announce that he's hitting the portal, and you would just be absolutely aghast. Like, my God, where did this come from? He's the face of our team, or at least one of the major contributors of our team, and he's leaving? What the hell? And then you remember, oh yeah, this is what college football can do. It just seems in this cycle that you're going to see a lot fewer of those. At least I would think. Now, if we saw a run of players, I guess none of us should be surprised. But I think once you've put in your winter and your spring ball, and then you know where you stand in the fall, and all of a sudden, even as a team or a guy that's going to be a first teamer on whatever team we're talking about decides that there's a better opportunity out there for them, that's where you have to start looking at, okay, this is where we're getting into that NIL part of it, of a lot of back channel conversations. I don't think it's a trend yet. I hope it's not.
Maybe the most significant one will be a guy that his name was bandied about around here before Nebraska got Dylan Raiola, is Lincoln Kienholz from South Dakota.
Yep.
He did not look good in Ohio State's spring game, and Ryan Day and Urban Meyer on the broadcast openly criticized him. They've got 5 scholarship quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
He would seem like this is that you don't see a path to playing much at Ohio State, that you might see him in the portal. And then I wonder if a school around here would have interest, not necessarily Nebraska, but Iowa, possibly.
Yeah.
Iowa State, Minnesota.
I would think, especially given the fact that what Cade McNamara is coming off of for Iowa, to have at least a bit of an insurance policy right there too. A guy that maybe could compete at that position at that level. That would be a good one. Iowa would be interesting to see.
Speaking of spring games, Nebraska spring game is now less than 2 weeks away, and I think spring games are losing their luster. Fox picked up Ohio State Saturday. They picked up Michigan. But you look at games now, I think Lane Kiffin has the right idea for spring. So this is what I think spring football is until they adopt my idea of scrimmage against another team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, by the way,
which is a good idea.
Division
That's
2
great.
and NIA teams are doing. UNK scrimmage Concordia St. Paul over at Lewis Central Saturday.
Oh, really?
So in that level of college football, you can scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
So they scrimmage this weekend. I would love to see that in college football, like Nebraska and let's say South Dakota scrimmage. But until we get that, I think spring games are losing their luster because coaches are becoming more and more paranoid.
Yep.
And it's not the recruiting tool that it used to be. And spring now is no hype. We don't want any insiders getting out. We want no drama. We want no injuries. We just want to survive spring and get on to summer conditioning and then into fall camp. And Lane Kiffin, I think this weekend showed everybody in the college game that this is where spring football is going. Less football, more showman. He had Joey Chestnut at their spring game. They had like contests.
Mm-hmm.
I once got blasted on this radio station for saying, you know what? Make it into a 7-on-7. Do some 11-on-11. Do practice. Do games. Whatever. But
See,
the days of everybody has a jersey and they're free to be hit is over in college football when it comes to spring.
Yeah.
There's just too much on the line.
Yep.
I mean,
too much
look,
money.
We even around here. So it's been an ideal Nebraska spring because there's been little drama.
Yep.
There have been, knock on wood, no injuries. That's the most important thing.
Exactly.
But when was the last time you heard anybody reference how many tickets have been sold? Because we do take it. We take it as a badge around here to draw 60 to 70 to 80,000. And Ohio State, they said 80,000 this weekend. Now Michigan doesn't normally draw well for their spring game, so it's on national TV. I wonder off a national championship year what kind of crowd they'll have in Ann Arbor next week. But I haven't heard anybody really mention ticket sales for Nebraska's spring game this year.
No, and there was the time that we were referring to just overall the lack of conversation around spring ball because of basketball. But you're right. Since basketball has ended, we're getting a little bit more substance from what's coming out of practices and whatnot, hearing a little bit more from the coaches. And I think people are running with that a little bit more. But as far as the overall anticipation for the game itself, I haven't heard that pick up at all.
Yeah, even like the scrimmage this weekend. And I'll share some things that were shared with me. Just a father of a prospect that's being courted by Nebraska. And he said it was kind of just like, it was good. It was football. Like no drama, no like, oh my God, you got to see this guy. It was just kind of, it was just football.
That's great. That should be a t-shirt. Just football. What a novel concept. With your run the damn ball hat. I'll wear that.
2024 Nebraska. It's just football.
It's just football. Tickets on sale now.
That would be a great shirt. Just a white shirt with black lettering. Just football.
Just football.
If Rule wore that.
It's so for me. Oh, if he wore it, then everybody would want it.
It would be at Husker Hounds within the hour.
For me, it's. I think that's the thing. We evolve of being able to see a spring game where it actually looks like a game. We've always talked about Nebraska fans, what that Saturday is for them, where if you are not someone that's able to make it out regularly throughout the season because of costs and what have you, it's a good opportunity to experience some type of a game day. But even for those fans, when you walk away watching that, are you, as we like to say on this radio show, fully hussed? Or based on what you saw? Because remember last year, the one thing
Rule 2 weeks from now, I would sit a lot of your key players.
Mm-hmm. And unless
exactly, because you've made it. Get out of there.
But if you want to showcase that, so here's sort of the tough position you're in as a coach, especially a coach in Nebraska, where you feel like you want to give the fans something. And you've got some exciting young players, especially at quarterback. This is where your idea of maybe a 7-on-7, maybe some type of throwing skills competition to where you're not revealing anything of overall philosophy, what you're going to do in the season, but the fans that made their way there to support you still have a chance to see Dylan Raiola throw the football, Danny Kalen throw the football, and be able to do it in different types of drills. I think there's a lot of fans that have always, you made reference a couple weeks ago about that open practice right after COVID that they had. And I think a lot of fans appreciated that because they hear it from us in the media when we have a chance to see 20, 25 minutes of practice, and they kind of go off of that. To have that where you feel like you're getting access to a practice of this is what we actually do during a practice. You don't want to maybe ask 60,000 people to come to a game and just run out of practice, but you're giving them maybe some of the drills, you're going through some things, and then at the end of that practice, you're doing some 11-on-11, 7-on-7, some good on good, but in a much more controlled environment. By that time, you've consumed a lot of things of what this team is doing. I think that would go over well with this fan base.
The weather. Anybody seen the extended forecast?
Yeah, it keeps getting lower.
Oh, really?
Hey, this weekend was nice.
Well, I know this weekend
You saw lower. I see next week.
Oh, wait, never. I'm sorry. I'm looking at never mind. I was looking at this week.
Are you getting after what I was saying last week? Everything's been warm, and then on the 27th, magically it'll be 38 degrees.
This
81
I'm sorry. I was looking at this Saturday. This Saturday is like in the 50s.
All right. Well, we'll share some thoughts on the scrimmage. There isn't a lot of details, but there are other things around the quarterback play at Nebraska. And Nebraska had a back-to-back recruiting weekend of two wide receivers. Plus, I mean, Iowa fans are triggered by anything